ended my session 10 minutes early, and I think people prefer that. It is our intention to either end tad early or end right on time. That's very important to me as a veteran presenter, just to not have 100 slides and to do my best to, get through the meet and on time. So all that said, we can hang out, and then she can, I am useless as a tech person, but she is amazing. So she can show you. And if you guys have presentations tomorrow, then you can be like, okay, at least I have some more tips. Okay. Yeah, no, totally. And anyway, we're not a huge group, which is really nice right now at like getting to the end of the day, right? Okay, so welcome. My name is Marie Cora, and I am the Professional Learning Pathways Coordinator for the state of Rhode Island. And this is my colleague.
Hello, everybody. Maria Angel Allen, and I am the Technology Integration Specialist.
So we're here to tell you all about our communities of practice. And I hope you get a lot out of that and some tips for your own states or programs. So yes, we have met 2 of us, and we also have a 3rd staff member. Actually, we're 2.5 staff members. Carolina Montoya is a half-time administrative assistant, and we are very thrilled and proud to say that she is a student ambassador here this week. Yes, so we're very pleased. All righty, jumping in the Mentimeter. I think everybody knows how this goes. Please point your camera at the QR code, and you will be taken to a Mentimeter where, is this a word cloud?
No, this
No.
will be, yes, just give us your opinion.
Right. What does a community of practice mean to you?
If everybody scans, I can go to the Mentimeter now.
Did everybody scan it? Did you get it? Do you need help? Oh gosh. Hold on. Oh no. But some people are not.
Let's see.
Okay, hold on. We
About
can,
now? Responding is off. Press C to allow responses. Okay.
hopefully now, try it now.
Okay, great.
Woohoo!
And we have one participant online, Joel. Welcome, Joel.
Welcome, Joel.
Oh, that's you.
Oh yeah,
Hi,
Joel. Nice. Joel's in 2 places at once.
No, that's okay. Stay if you want to. Stay online.
Nice. A group of colleagues who support each other and explore common areas of interest. A place to get ideas from peers. People coming together around shared topic that they have a practice in. A group of people with shared passions, yeah, who interact regularly to explore their practice. A gathering of like-minded professionals with a common goal. Love these responses. Just another few seconds in case. Great. Peer learning and continually meeting to discuss. Awesome. Any others?
Does anybody else need the QR code again?
Okay.
You got it?
All right. So you're all correct. What do you know? Actually, I'm going to briefly share before we move off this slide something that I learned in a pre-con session yesterday with Kim, who was leading us in a professional development session. And she described 3 types of communities or learning communities. And I found that super helpful in thinking about it. So how many people call it a community of practice? How many people call it a professional learning community? Or Both. And what are the differences? Hold on. Oh, wait, we don't need, oh, no, we're recording. What are the differences between a community of practice and a professional learning community for you in your program?
I don't know. Well, I work at the state level. We have standards-based professional learning communities where folks get together and do practice, share best practices, and go out and do it, and then come back and reflect on it. So local programs have to do that with standards.
Is it a required?
It is. And then we have like my pet project would be to start an asynchronous statewide community of practice. And that's why I'm going to all these sessions, because that's a hard one to get off the ground.
So that's exactly right. So there's actually 3 levels of communities. The first one is a learning community, and this is not defined. Anyone can join it. It can be on any topic, generally stays open. And so it's very open and very general. The next level is a community of practice where, what's your name? Where, as Ashley described, it is an asynchronous community. It is all, you volunteer to join. You're not required to join. The topic is focused. So you're not talking about math, science, or reading. You're just talking about math, for example. And there's no requirements here. The next level is, in fact, a professional learning community. And that is a required thing. You do come together around a very specific goal, and you work toward that goal together in that group. Once that goal has been achieved, maybe that community, maybe that professional learning community then goes away or breaks up. Maybe they carry on and they do another task, or they head toward another goal. So I just learned that myself yesterday, folks, and I just found that so helpful, because we always hear, oh, COPs, oh, PLCs, and you're like, yeah, they're the same thing, but they're not. Okay, so I thought that was very interesting, and I hope that's helpful when you think about what type of a community you want to start to build in either your program or your state or your region.
Slides.
Okay. Just a little overview of professional learning in Rhode Island. So our funding does come from the Rhode Island Department of Education, from the Office of GED in Providence. They chose not to have the professional learning team housed out of the Department of Education, which we feel is a wise move. They farmed out, they put out an RFP, and they farmed us out, and the professional learning, and the Providence Public Library is the one who won the grant. So we are now based downtown Providence in the main library. Now, actually, let me ask you, why do I say it was a wise move to not have the professional learning team in the Department of Education? Why would I say that?
As someone who works for a state Department of Education, I think there is a lot more flexibility if that is happening outside of the government.
Thoughts and comments around that?
I mean, we all know what's going on right now. So in terms of funding, perhaps it might be a little bit more state. Well, what did you say? Funding comes from state. Yeah. So from the state. So for you guys, it might be a little bit more stable what's happening right now. Whereas I'm also at the state level and not really know what I'm planning for in July, but we will see.
We're sort of stable. A chunk of our money is federal dollars. So we don't, but you're right. We have state funds that come from another place too. A little bit, yeah.
And I don't say this because it's an issue in Minnesota, because it's not, but potentially autonomy. I mean, I think the PD Center could have more autonomy and not be tied to the funder. So especially in these times, right? Right.
I actually have more questions than I do comments. When you say that you're just the professional learning, the community of practice is funded, or the entire PD is funded through Rhode Island or through the the library?
That the Providence Public Library. My budget's about $340,000 a year.
Okay. And then how are,
All PD all the time.
which is, but your adult ed programs are not funded through the library, they are funded through the Department of Ed.
So I also work for the state team and am the PD person. And sometimes I don't like feeling this position, but sometimes people feel like I'm big brother of the state. I'm watching them. And so it's harder to be their partner, which is what I want to be, than maybe what they might conceive of me as.
That's a great way to sum up all of the comments, actually. So, you know, your funder is a supportive funder because I wouldn't give you money, but they're also about compliance. We don't want that. We want to be partners with the programs and have them be able to tell us and say anything they need and want to, so that we can actually really help them. And so it was a very smart move of Rhode Island Department of Education to farm us out. So thank you, because yeah, y'all are spot on. So you already met the team. So we work, remember Rhode Island's small. So we work with 19 funded programs. Those programs serve about 6,000 students per year, and we work with about 300 practitioners per year. Let's see.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I forgot that to share on Zoom.
Oh.
Okay.
Is somebody in remote? No,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Oh. Sorry, this is odd. Okay, there are two. Karen.
Hi, Karen.
One.
Welcome to the workshop, Karen. We're so glad you're here. Okay. Okay.
Back to the slides.
All right. Okay. So next slide. All right. So there's a lot of discussion in this session. Are you a member of a community of practice now? And what's the topic? Let's start with question number 1. Anybody a member of a community of practice in here?
Just started one, and it's for adult literacy. And I think the topics are going to change. We're starting with building community awareness.
You a member of that group, or are you starting that group?
Starting it, but then I want to be member.
We run various communities of practice in our state. The most recent one we did was for one-room schoolhouse practitioners, to share practices. But would you call, Marie and I are on the AALPD, Association of Adult Literacy Professional Developers Board. At the very least, I think we're a learning community together, if not a community of practice. So I don't know. Yeah. Community. Yeah. Yeah.
Interest,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone contributes their expertise to that group,
Mm-hmm.
right? As board members do. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah. Learning community. You guys run. Is that then like the task focused or goal oriented part of the definition of a PLC? Like those specific webinars that have, right, they're topic based. Is that why we then fall within that? Again, it's not necessarily asynchronous. It's live.
Karen, for Karen. The microphone for Karen.
I think I think it's more the fact that the members come together. An outcome of that are these webinars, and yeah, they're goals. Right, and learning from each other and trying to figure out how to make AALPD better. what does the field need? How can we find out what the field needs and that kind of thing? And we all have different expertise in that group. So you had your hand up.
Well, a couple things. Right now, they're starting a community of practice among faculty. We're starting in our School of Education at Hamlin on AI integration. And so there's a book read, but I was just trying to look up the name of the book for you all. That's why I pulled my phone up, but I'll find it later. And I haven't started it yet, but I think it'll be more of a community of practice and the way my colleague is envisioning it. And then the other question I had when you talked about, I totally agreed with that idea that a COP, it's a little, to me, it's more organic and more bottom up and from the teachers themselves. And yet I think it wouldn't have to be asynchronous. And I think it should also be very much, I mean, the group of teachers can identify some goals and set some goals for themselves. That's one thing. I kind of think of PLCs as, okay, it's in your, for your professional plan this year. I hear teachers telling me I have to join a PLC. Whereas a COP to me is more organic, and it's a group of teachers who come together who say, let's explore this. Do you agree with that? Or do you want, yeah.
And I would just add for a PLC, I always think of that also as being more grounded at the local level, happening at the program level, and like traditionally by definition, looking at student work being part of that. So.
I'll talk if I have a microphone in front of me. So I'm still grappling with that definition you shared at the beginning of the COP, PLC, all the things, because in my head, I still haven't delineated those things into 3 different buckets. And I'm going to add another one because in Illinois, a few years ago, we started virtual learning communities right before COVID hit, which was like, how did we know? And so we call them VLCs. And so those have taken different shapes and forms throughout the time that we've been doing them. And some of them are communities of practice, or what I think are communities of practice based on this short conversation I've had so far, in that they get to choose the topic and they come willingly. For instance, we have one that's fairly new that's a corrections in education VLC. And so those people are coming to talk to other corrections practitioners and get tips and tricks and all the things, all the learning, but it's guided by one of our PD professionals. And it's also we have a regional support specialist at the state level that is coming to those as well, because that's kind of his niche or his specialty, and that's been really helpful. But then we have other virtual learning communities that are run differently, where it's more structured, where there's a webinar, there's an asynchronous conversation, and then there's another webinar, and like that's the community of practice, or that's the virtual learning community.
I think that we don't need to be so strict about our definitions, but I do think that thinking about these 3 different models is a bit helpful in understanding what is it that I want to create, right? Like, do I need a community that has to do this stuff because they have to learn this stuff, and that's totally legit and it's necessary and it's needed? If that's the case, you're probably leaning toward more the requirement end, right? This sounds to me like a total organic community of practice, and your whole thing is digital. You're just shifting what the digital is focused on, right? Like, I think of digital literacy as I think of reading. Digital literacy should go through everything. Reading goes through everything already, right? You can't even do math without reading. So I would say that we don't need to be so strict, but that some of these pieces help you think about what it is you want to create. Other comments? Any comments on like number 2? Yeah.
Go here and there. Yeah. So I definitely, I mean, I'm here for very personal, professional reasons, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on you because I really want to integrate either COPs or PLCs into the North Carolina state level professional development. I have joined a COP, one of our SMEs, subject matter experts at the state level. He's very much about generative AI. So he created a COP on that. I joined it. I'm not active in it, to be transparent, right? And that's also my concern for whatever it is that I plan to create, is how to get that engagement and interest. If it's not going to be organic because I work at the state office from the get-go, right? I mean, just unfortunately, it's always going to be top down if I'm creating it from the state level. And so, yeah, I'm like really struggling to wrap my brain around how can I do something that's not really organic, but tweak it in such a manner that it would create that engagement, interest, and
So Mariangel is actually going to describe in some detail, like the strategies, challenges, and that kind of thing, and how we listen. We don't have all the answers either, and don't think like the 300 people that we work with are constantly talking in these communities, because they ain't. So these are some challenges too, but we do have a few strategies here and then there.
Well, I just had I had a question actually. So I'm looking at your definitions, and we recently we're wrapping up. We had an internal, I guess, community of practice where our professional development team and the consultants we work with, we read a book together, and we just finished the book, and now we're going to have our last meeting where we're going to take the material. It was a professional, like how to be a professional developer, written from like consultants for K-12. So we're talking about what's useful, what's not, and then we're using their materials. So is that a community of practice?
Is it voluntary?
Yeah, it was voluntary.
That's the biggest piece for me. Is it voluntary, or did someone tell you, you got to join this and you got to do this? To me, that sounds like a community practice.
I was just going to respond. I think it's really important because what I'm doing, I don't want to be top down. So I set the first topic, and then I'm going to have a sign up sheet for people to be the next one, people who facilitate and lead and come up with the topics. And then sit back. Yeah. I think
We have other virtual learning communities in Illinois that are more like a broad topic. So like we have a data VLC, we have an ICAPS, which is our IET in Illinois. And so that's exactly kind of what they do is the PD professionals organize who's going to be talking and what they're, and like, oh, so-and-so is doing this great thing with ICAPS. We really want to give them the space to talk about that and share their practices. So then we contact so-and-so and say, would you mind coming to our monthly virtual learning community and sharing about your awesome math and bridges program? We'd love to hear that. And then kind of facilitates that and just says, here's the 3 questions we want you to answer. And so that really brings more of the community towards it. It's not just the PD person kind of, well, this is what so-and-so is doing, and this is what so-and-so is doing. And, like that, but it did take a little while to kind of figure that out. And it does still require lots of being boots on the ground, talking to programs to find out who are those programs, who is doing what and how, and is it successful, Yeah, and I think that actually it doesn't even come in that formal way. It really is about talking to programs, like having interactions with programs, knowing kind of like, or facilitating that first step, which is, oh, they have a CNA bridge. No one else has a CNA bridge. I'm going to reach out to them and ask them about it. Like getting a little piece of information. It's kind of like being a journalist in some way, right? Like getting a little piece of information and then reaching out. Our teams, Tara and Sarah at Illinois, they're like experts at this. Finding the nugget and then taking it and expanding it.
Okay, one more comment.
We also do something similar like that in Oregon. It's called From the Field, and it's instructor-led professional learning. So when we hear of somebody who's doing a thing, and we try to do it monthly, we have them come and explain, what they're doing and show. And we say, okay, it's not just like an hour, it's an hour, but don't talk for an hour. Like think about ways to engage the folks and have them apply to things like that. And so I think there's maybe a way for me to tie some of these things together. I'm not there yet, but
Starting to think about it.
Yeah. Karen, do you have anything to say? I noticed you unmuted.
Oh, well, at first I couldn't say anything or see anything. So thank you for having me share.
Wait, I see your microphone moving, which means that you're talking, but we cannot hear you.
Yeah, I'm not able. Sorry.
I think she has to type in the chat.
Okay.
Can you type it on the chat, Karen? I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Thank you. Okay, will do.
I can see here that her microphone is moving and she's trying to talk, but we can't hear it. Um,
Yeah, they have to type.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing again. Nothing. Try again, Karen.
She writing?
Okay, she's writing. Hello, hello, Karen.
Okay.
I'm surprised that she's able to Q&A into Shield.
So a lot of the features you either allow or not allow, so. But we can't hear you.
You went in on the back end and changed the settings.
I know, it asks you when we log in, when we logged in.
Does Karen have a question?
No, she just said hello.
Okay, great. We're glad you're here.
Thanks,
Okay, let's
Karen.
advance the slide.
Type any questions if you have any, okay? We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay, our objectives. Our rationale for creating communities of practice in Rhode Island, content areas that we selected for these COPs, how they're facilitated, typical activities and discussions, and then as promised, we're going to talk about challenges and success stories. Okay,
Okay, so now.
do you want to stay there?
Yeah, I'll stay here for Karen. Let's talk about Google Groups. So all of these communities of practice that we're talking about, they live in Google. They are under Google platform. So technically they're Google Groups. Before Marie and I joined the PD team for Rhode Island, there were already in place 5 Google Groups for the state of Rhode Island. There were the all staff group, which technically all practitioners should be a member of. The directors group, which all directors and coordinators of the programs should be a member of. The professional learning specialists, each program should have a designated person. It's one of the required roles by the state of Rhode Island, where each program should have a professional learning person assigned. So this person should be part of this Google group, as well as assessment specialists and a LACES user group, which is a database that Rhode Island uses. You all are familiar with LACES, right? And CASAS? How about CASAS? Yes, LACES and CASAS. Okay, so assessment specialists basically for CASAS, LACES for our database. So now why? Why the need? If we already had these in place, why the need to create communities of practice? Well, the Google groups mostly were like information out, simply to send out webinars or a call for this, or simply information out. There was no intentional discussion being created in it. So that's why we saw the need of creating communities of practice. So what content areas did we choose and why? We chose 4: ABE, GED, ESOL, learning differences and learning disabilities or learning disabilities, and digital literacy. We noticed that in these specific groups, the teachers needed help or more like a community to network, like perhaps if they encounter a challenge, other colleagues from other programs that may have an answer or how to work around that specific subject, or perhaps to continue to provide professional learning, asynchronous professional learning through these communities of practice. And yeah, just simply to try to create and change the culture of the state, which it's still a work in progress for us. But that's the reason why. So when Marie and I joined the team in 2023, then these groups were created, these communities of practice we created in January of 2024. So they've been around for about a year. And another difference from the Google groups is that they have a facilitator, each of these groups, and they are hired by our office, and they are paid $40 an hour, and they're asked to have to be in this position for a 10-month commitment for approximately an hour and 25 minutes a week. And then the exception to the rule of these 4 is the digital literacy, because the facilitator is me. So I don't get paid the $40 an hour for that. But the other 3, and Marie and I are going to discuss a little bit more about that. Another difference from the Google groups is that we have monthly meetings with these facilitators and the professional learning team. Let's talk a little bit about the ABE GED. It has a facilitator, as we said, wonderful facilitator. And the content areas that it covers are RLA, social studies, science and math. And mostly what is posted here, the best practices found in the academic journals or textbooks. And the facilitator is one of our practitioners called Evelyn Robertson. She's a GED instructor and also an instructional coach on one of the programs, one of the 19 programs in Rhode Island. Currently, this COP has 65 members and 119 discussions have happened so far. We can see here to the right bullet points there. These are some examples. We're going to talk more about this, but I would like to show you something that Evelyn has been creating. So she shares out just one-page flyer with specific subject and a specific lesson for the teachers to share. So they can use this for their own lesson planning. They can share with their students. They can adapt it and tweak it to their own practice. And she's been doing this for a while. We'll show you a little bit more of how she has done it. This is Evelyn. We have a picture of her. She couldn't be here with us, but that is Evelyn. She's been great. She's been with us ever since the COP started, so more than a year right now. Some of the successes of this community of practice is, again, the posting of resources every week and the teaching materials that she's been sharing with all the teachers. And also the discussions have been facilitated, that she's had good activities back and forth, or threads going back and forth. And also the PD that we offer are advertised here, and they aligned with the information shared in this community of practice. So all of the workshops and trainings will also post in this group, the relevant ones. So yes. Wait. Oh yeah, microphone for Karen.
Sorry. So just so I understand this correctly, so the 1.25 hours per week is her gathering the resources, the academic stuff, posting it, and facilitating that discussion. That's what entails her responsibilities, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And every week again, but then again, it's very flexible. Like, let's say that she's spend 1 week, I don't know, 2-3 hours. Then the next week she doesn't have to. If maybe just a quick monitor and see if there is any response. And then the idea is to continue the thread, but she doesn't have to create content for the next week.
Okay.
She's already spent.
And so the PD team, are you guys like quality check, quality control looking at anything? Or you really are just saying, hey, facilitator, I trust
That's right.
the process, go for it. And you release her to the wild.
Yes.
So I'll just add one quick thing. She doesn't do all these things at once, right? Like some weeks it's a discussion. Some weeks she posts a resource. Also, she's a veteran GED teacher. So she already has a ton of this stuff at her fingertips. She actually creates lessons for the COP based off lessons that she uses in her teaching. So it's not like she has to go out and do all the research and figure it out. She is a veteran GED teacher, which is why she's the facilitator of that particular community. Go ahead.
So another strategy that Evelyn has done in this community of practice is that she has shared feedback forms. She created a Google group with intentional questions, very short, to try to gather as much feedback as she could from the members of this community of practice. So basically the information that I'm sharing with you, is it relevant? Do you like it? Simple as that. And she received responses to it and people were like, yes, we like it. We're using it this way for our practice or that way. Or maybe it's like, I would like to see more of XYZ. And then she integrated that or added that based on the feedback from that form. So that was very helpful and intentional to continue the thread going and then to share relevant information, of course. Now, like anything, we've also had challenges, and a lot of these challenges are the same for all of the COPs. So facilitating discussion, even though it's been good in the ABE-GED because Evelyn has been very intentional, it's been a challenge. Again, Marie mentioned something about, changing the culture, creating a new pathway. This is something new for us too, for the state of Rhode Island. Many people didn't know and still don't know what a community of practice is. And we're in the process of making them familiar with it and comfortable to use them. So that's a work in progress, but again, trying to share something that is relevant for the members of these groups. So same thing, engaging the subscribers go hand in hand with facilitating discussion. And then the strategies, as the example that I showed before, that little PDF, one pager, that's something that Evelyn has been doing with topical series over a few weeks. So she picks one subject, and then over a few weeks, she shares different series of the same topic. She did that for, I think it was 5 weeks, over 5 weeks, right? Different ones, same content area, same topic, but different ways to integrate a specific one. Yes. Microphone.
Just shut me down if I'm going in the weeds here. I don't want to take over. But again, just trying to wrap my brain around it. So the facilitating discussion part, is this like a forum board that she posts a prompt or something, and then they have to respond within a certain amount of time? Like I just, if you can share the specifics again, so I can wrap my brain around it. Thanks.
Again, they're not, obviously, there's not like a time you have to answer between this time or that time, but it's shared, again, like I mentioned, it's all Google based. So even though there are communities of practice, they still work as a Google group, right? So she shares it like, hey, everybody, this is what I'm sharing with you this week, strategies for you to teach math. And this is what I liked about it. And she had like 3 bullet points about it, the pamphlet, send. And then let's see what people say. Some weeks, some people, 2 responses, perhaps some other weeks, she has really good responses, even teachers that have put it into practice and, hey, I really enjoyed this. And then she continues the conversation and asks follow-up questions. So it's very flexible, right? And there's no time around it, like you have to answer in a certain time, no. Yeah. ESOL. Oh, that's me, right? Okay.
All right. So,
oh, wait, I'm sorry. Karen has a question.
yay, Karen.
Karen says, how do know the impact to teaching practice? Any data collected from COP? Good question, Karen.
Karen. Yes, no. So no, that's a brilliant question. So I'll take the first part, the second part first, which is, so Evelyn did launch a feedback form. And that was the first time that, remember, we've been doing this for about a year. Okay, so we're only about a year in. But yes, so the feedback form did give us some very good information. And so we will now do that in every community. So that's number one. Your first question about what is the impact? We have a little tiny bit of information when a teacher posts in the group, hey, I actually tried that activity and it really worked well with my students. Well, we know that person actually used what was shared. That's number one. So first, we're actually looking at, are we changing teacher behavior by having them have these conversations and share ideas? So that's number one. And we don't know if that had impact on her students, but I like to think if the teacher's jazzed about this and went and used this activity, I'd like to think that the students got something out of it, but I have no proof of that. So right now, Karen, I would say that we are working on how is this changing teacher behavior? Because again, let me just say that, and I said this morning, most professional development is like a one-shot workshop. I mean, let's face it, it is. And our community in Rhode Island is used to that. And we want them to get out of that. We're trying to change the culture of how you think about professional learning. It's not a one-shot. It is a sustained thing. And peer learning is one of the most powerful places to learn from. So that probably didn't quite answer your question, Karen, but at least that gives you a little bit more idea of, our intentions going forward and how we're thinking about this now. I will also say that we look at data too, like how many members are joining, how many new members have joined since X, how many discussions have happened, what do those discussions look like? Are they just information out, and can you remind me when that webinar is happening? Or is it a back and forth about strategies? So there are a few ways that we can look at data to help us understand what's working and what's not.
And Karen has another question.
Oh, no.
Are participants given PD points?
Unfortunately, we don't have PD points in the state of Rhode Island. And I was just having a conversation with someone earlier today about looking at badges. We've thought about badges. So the federal government requires that a certain percentage of federal dollars be set aside for professional development for teachers. And Rhode Island follows that percentage. You look like you don't know that. The federal government. Yeah, yeah. Yep. There is a. Yeah. So I actually, if after I can pull up the letter if you want me to, but evidently a lot of states don't do this, but Rhode Island is really all over it. So if you're a full-time teacher, I forget what the percentage is, like 17% of your time or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're a full-time teacher in adult education in the state of Rhode Island, your program has to pay you for 30 hours of professional development. If you're part-time, then you look at it in terms of percentage. It's tricky with part-time. Part-time is very difficult, right? Yeah, it's a percent of the money that you get. And I can show you that after. But so in other words, Karen, so they don't get points, but every program is required to track individual practitioner PD using a particular tool. Some people use LACES, some people use Google Forms, some people use other kinds of things. We're trying to use only one tool going forward. We'll figure that out. And in addition, this year, we're moving into the second layer, which is a program has to have a program-wide professional development goal or set of goals for everybody at their program. So there's program goals and then there's individual goals. The individual goals are what get counted as a percentage of the money. So just for example, we have a new adult orientation in Canvas. It's 6 modules. It's about 6 hours of your time. Person goes through that. We can watch it, right? They get to the end. They get paid for 6 hours of their time. Yeah. Other questions about that? I know you guys are like, yeah.
Microphone for Karen.
I think my guess is that it's just not been explained to us in that way because it's being interpreted differently. Yeah. Cause like in Illinois, I'll just say like the way this PD system runs is that every instructor, part-time or full-time, does not matter, 12 hours of PD per year. That's the requirement. But that's a state decision. Right. Now, I don't know. The programs get dollars for PD, and I'm trying to think of like, but I don't know that it's sectioned off as PD. I think it's more like it's set under a different budget line. I'm sorry. Can I ask you a question about your presentation? I'm sorry. Anyway, are the discussions happening? It seems like at the beginning you showed us a picture that you were meeting at the library to have a live discussion. No. Okay. So the discussions are happening asynchronously.
That's right.
Got it.
The Google Groups.
Got it. And how do you maintain your Google Groups lists?
We do. Yep. And manually, we just go check, make sure that, so a lot of the times the programs have the practice to eliminate the emails that are no longer in ESOL Ed. So you will get you will see that this email is no longer working or functional. So we can eliminate those. And then every quarter or every 2 quarters, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is every 2 quarters. The state of Rhode Island, they have a sheet with the different tabs of all different roles per program. And every program director is supposed to update that every time. Yeah, and then they send us that, and then
Oh.
we match that with the members of our. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we work with about 300 people, and 19 programs. I'm sure. Yeah. No, there's places that have 300 programs. Never mind work with 300 people. So, all right. Okay, so ESOL, let me go quick. So an ESOL instructor who was wonderful did facilitate this particular group for the first 6 months, and then she left. And so it's currently facilitated by me for a variety of reasons. One was just trying to be a 2-woman team is really hard, and so we just were like jumping in. But also, it's not easy to recruit a facilitator, even though they're getting paid. And, and there's lots of support. We're there to support them. We have monthly meetings, we guide them all the way. But that's been a challenge. And I'm trying right now to recruit an ESOL facilitator to take it over, and wish me luck. But, and now what I'm doing is I'm identifying people, like somebody said, you kind of hear what's going on the ground, and then you ask a programmer or you ask a practitioner. And so that's kind of it now. And same with the LDD, and I'll talk to you about that. But we currently have 67 members in that group, and there have been 92 discussions. And that really was mostly in the first 6 months. I work full time. I have many hats. I can't devote myself to this group. And it needs a devotee. Whether that person is a paid practitioner, or I heard a brilliant idea about you generating it, and then you have people, like it's a rotating facilitator. I love that idea. That's very cool. In fact, maybe that's what we should do with okay, next slide. Same thing. I don't need to explain. Same thing. Had a great facilitator for the first 6 months. She actually got a job in her real profession. But that's wonderful. Again, the 55 members and the 47 discussions mostly happened under her. We have the same, it's all parallel, right? So there are successes. Yes, posting resources weekly. I do not do that. I try my best to post resources every couple of weeks. One of the most successful discussions that the previous ESOL instructor had was asking, what textbooks do you all use to teach ESOL? And that discussion was an explosion for like 2 weeks. And not always, with some colorful language sometimes. And again, other successes are definitely doing activities that coincide with other types of trainings. So announcing in there, posting some reflection questions before they get to the webinar. They go to the webinar. Then afterwards, doing some other things after the webinar, which, let me just tell you, we are not good at. And so we know that that's an area that we have to get better at. Also, some of our presenters join our communities. And so they have like an expert in the room with them to ask and answer questions. Challenges are the same, facilitating discussion. It's hard to get people to talk. People are busy. We're not going to talk, well, yes, she is, so I'm not going to go there. So engaging subscribers, right? Getting, just getting more people to join. As Mariangel mentioned, a ton of the field still has no idea what a community of practice, no idea. They think it's a webinar. I missed it. When can I get there? Well, did you record it? Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of education that we need to do. I already mentioned recruiting a facilitator, and yeah, my time.
Okay, now the digital literacy community of practice is facilitated by me. And currently we have 47 members and 52 discussions have happened. Some of the successes of the digital literacy is that we post resources monthly. Yes, monthly. You notice the other ones were weekly. Monthly, and that's a success because as Marie mentioned, our time is very limited. But we've had some really cool strategies around the digital literacy community of practice. And one of them is, or are the Tech Tuesdays. So recently, well, it's been a few months, we implemented micro learnings. So a lot of the times we have teachers that were like, I don't have time to join a webinar. It's, you know, you provide them when I'm teaching, I can't do it. So we still wanted to provide some professional learning that they can watch on their own time. So they are asynchronous and they're very short. The longest, they're basically 3 to 10 minutes. That's it. So the way we've done this is recording a clip, a video clip of 3 to 10 minutes, and then providing them a tech tip or a technology platform that they can use into their practice, giving them examples of how they can use it, and then giving them some sort of an assignment or now you try it. This is something that you can do. And the idea is for them that after they watch the Tech Tuesday or these micro learning, the idea is for them to come into the digital literacy community of practice and either answer the prompts and questions that we had left in the, I'm going to show you what we send, and continue the conversation there. And that is we're advertising them, we're telling everybody that they can count that as part of their PD time. And then these are posted in our YouTube channel. So as of right now, we have 5 Tech Tuesdays, which are the tech routines. We started with that in November of last year. Basically, we share what tech routines are and how you can implement it into your practice. And now you try it and share with us what happened. Did you like it? Was it successful? Did you encounter challenges? And then we also launched an adult education orientation. We mentioned of that earlier in Canvas LMS. So that's also brand new for our state. So it was like an overview of how to navigate Canvas and how or what to expect of the course. We have the state of Rhode Island provides technology platforms for free for the 19 programs. And we call that the software showcase. We put them all together in a spreadsheet with the explanation of what they are, what content areas they're for, what teachers should do to subscribe or have an account if they would like one, and how students can access it as well. So we ran a Tech Tuesday, we did a Tech Tuesday about how to navigate the software showcase and what each technology platform is for. We also launched a new website. So we did an overview of our new website for professional learning and how to navigate it. And the latest Tech Tuesday, it's about organizing digital calendars. So the way we pick the topics for the Tech Tuesdays are like as you notice, things that either are happening in the state, things that are brand new, like Canvas, new website. All right, let's do a Tech Tuesday and show everybody how to use it and they can watch it in their own time. Or if we see a need. So we mentioned that we have required roles like professional learnings. So in one of our monthly meetings, we noticed that some have, and then again, even in workshops, sometimes we've had people like, hey, I can't find the link to join, or perhaps the session was canceled and they're still trying to log in, or so difficulties around calendar management. So we created a Tech Tuesday micro-learning around organizing your digital calendars. And I'm going to show you what we send. And as of right now, we're using Google so layouts to send it. Just try to make it colorful, but short and sweet. So the Tech Tuesday is linked here. March Tech Tuesday, organizing your digital calendars. Brief overview of what it is. Learn how to integrate your Google or Outlook calendar with the PLP of events. So that's what this is about, how they can integrate the PLP calendar into their own, whether they use Google or Outlook, because that's what our state mostly uses. And then how to color code or label so they can categorize and organize their calendar. So then after, this always stays there, the launching, the Tech Tuesdays, we launch every second Tuesday of each month. And it's a synchronous professional development. So we always give them this brief description for them to know what it is. They can watch it here. And then this is a synchronous session that takes place in the digital literacy community of practice. So the idea is for them to join the community of practice and participate there and watch the Tech Tuesday there. After they watch it, they would try, these are some of the questions that we, or the prompts that we send them, right? Try it now, integrate the calendar into your own calendar, set up 3 labels. And then the idea is for them to come into the COP and share. Did this make sense for them? Was it helpful? Did it help you to stay on top of professional learning? That's the idea of it. So something like this we send every month. So that's a success. And then again, the activities coincide with the workshops and trainings that we offer. Yes. Great. Microphone. Karen, if you have any questions, you can post
So
it.
just requesting full transparency here. How much time does it actually take you, coming up with the idea for the Tech Tuesday, creating whatever that micro learning video is, and then, sending it out to the COPs?
Yeah.
I bet she is. We're also a team of 2 over in North Carolina with many more programs and providers. So just trying to, again, visualize how I can do this. Thanks.
Yeah, no, of course, that's a good question. It does take, again, we strategize around it. Honestly, it's like we fly by yes, because sometimes like this one, the latest one, it just happened. I was actually going to do it about Padlet, but then we saw the need. It's like a bunch of people is asking for a link that we already sent, the facilitator got sick. So it was canceled, but they were asking, hey, I'm trying to log in and I can't. So we strategized, and then when we met together with the professional learning specialists from each program, they were like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. We just go on the website, I guess. Like, so we're like, all right, there is a need around this. And that was the week before. So that same week, the week before, we had to launch the Tech Tuesday. So that same week, we were like, all right, let's just do it around that. So I always do a little script, a little blurb of what I want, the ideas, the main points that we want to take out of this. And honestly, I use AI to like help me with my idea. So this is what I want to accomplish. Give me objectives. Boom, boom, boom. And that saves me time. And then I just start recording. Something helpful too is that, because at the office, we just have cubicles, so it's tough to record on our own. So I have the flexibility. Marie lets me do it at home, and then I have my equipment, my microphone, my computer, and that is huge. I mean, that adds to it as well. And yeah, in a day, I can put it all together. Just about. Yeah, from start to finish. Yes.
How many of the Tech Tuesdays are they all you doing a video, or are you pulling in a YouTube video and doing it?
Good question. Yeah, as of right now, it's all me. But at one point, they might get tired of my voice. So we are thinking, Marie mentioned that we have outside or third parties coming to visit our COP, like facilitators to visit. And that's one of our goals that we have. So for example, we are IDEAL members, our state, and we are strategizing to have IDEAL, one of the members of IDEAL, to join the community of practice and perhaps record a short clip. We were thinking about skill blocks, for example. That will be the Tech Tuesday for that month, whenever that happens. So again, to try to make it different and variety and interest for people. Oh, Karen has a question. Will you share the template? Yes, Karen, we'll share everything with you. How many attend the Tech Tuesday? Okay, yeah, this is a good question. It's an asynchronous session. It happens completely asynchronously. So all we can see, the data that we can see is how many people have watched the YouTube videos. And honestly, ever since we launched it, we've noticed the increase, because at first, like Marie said, some people were like, oh no, I missed the Tech Tuesday. It's like, no, you didn't. It's an asynchronous video. Go watch it. Again, trying to shift the culture, right? It's like, I always think about this as creating a new pathway, right? So imagine a jungle full of just like, I don't know where we are. And then you just have an axe and trying to cut your pathway through. That's how I think about this, because that's what we're doing. And then you're creating that little pathway. It's like, all right, I know where to go now. That's where we're at. But yeah, as of right now, the highest that we've seen, I think it's over 36, the views that we've had. But then it's still a challenge to have the participation afterwards. People are watching them, but the participation, come to the COP and answer the question or start a discussion, it's a challenge still.
And I think that it's even more of a challenge for digital literacy and ESOL and LDD, because the people that are facilitating it don't have we just cannot spend the time that's necessary to get behind the scenes and get people, so it's important to have a dedicated facilitator in some way, paid, rotating, it's important.
Yeah, yeah. That's part of the challenges, yep. So in facilitating discussion and engaging the subscribers, again, that's an ongoing thing. And then my time, because as Marie mentioned, we work full time, so trying to juggle everything. So some of the strategies, let's see a little bit more of intentional examples. For the ABE GED, we talked about the topical series that Evelyn has been posting. So she's done like 5 strategies to support reading, for example, and she's been posting it in a series of 5 weeks. Yes, organizing peer guest speakers. That's something that we've been working on for the ABE GED and the digital literacy. So and that will be like local talent. We want to find teachers that are good at GED teaching strategies and teachers that are good at North Star, and then bring them to the communities of practice and share what they do to have success or be successful with their students in these areas. So another workaround that we've done with the digital literacy that has worked, again, the follow-up after the Tech Tuesdays is a challenge, right? So what we've done, something short and sweet, send a Mentimeter with like, hey, from I don't know, the software showcase we did, which one is your favorite technology platform? And then to just click one, and it's like a game, so it's fun. It's like, and people do, they go in and say, okay, yeah, I use LE the most, and it gives us data too, so it's helpful. We also share a Padlet asking for feedback about the new website that we created. That was also very, very helpful to have. Yeah, and as I mentioned, we're also working around a strategy to work with Ideal to have them as guest speakers and perhaps create a Tech Tuesday with them.
So the strategies that I've been working on for the LDD group, do y'all know about the basic disability screening for adult education? Okay, so if you don't, that's out of world education. If you just put basic disability screening for adult education and world education into your browser, it will come up. And it's a wonderful tool, and the author and presenter has done some stuff in the community of practice with people, sharing that resource, posing questions, getting their questions. And then she has done one webinar so far, and then we're doing, as soon as we get back actually on Friday, she's doing a face-to-face going over that curriculum. In ESOL, how many people know the DART curriculum? Okay, so if you don't know the DART curriculum, put that in and make sure that you put in Texas education, or you'll come up with like a subway system somewhere. But DART, yeah, right. DART is, yeah, DART is actually a fantastic, so think of DART as pre-North Star level. This is a very, very low series of lessons on introducing people, really introducing total novices to hardware, basic software, basic computer skills. We use it in the state of Rhode Island for the folks who aren't at a North Star level. So we do a bunch of stuff around that with the ESOL group. And then, what is that? Oh yeah, well, we're trying to change the culture of the field. So as we keep saying, we want people to think about this as a place to go to get learning from their peers and to get the notion that, hey, this doesn't ever stop. This keeps going. Okay. All right. I think we're actually done, right?
Yes, that's it. 2 minutes for any questions. Any last questions? Okay.
Gee, does anybody have
North Carolina. Karen.
I came here because I want to do this. Okay. So first question, the content you mentioned, it makes perfect, logical sense for your COPs to be that content. Again, I just want to pry open your brains and like, how did you come to that? Was it a discussion? They said, okay, these would be the content focused COPs that we will launch.
Series of discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the learning disabilities differences group, that is kind of required. So each program is required to have someone in that role at their program. They can be a point person and they don't have to be some expert. It's just they have interest in it or maybe a little bit of experience, and their role is to, hey, I heard about the basic disability screening device, and I wanted to share that with the rest of the staff. Or, hey, Marie just announced on the LDD group that there's going to be a series of webinars on X. Hey, everybody in the program. So it's a conduit. So those people are actually required to be a part of this group, but it's also not really, it's not punitive, and it's not, you know, it's kind of light touch. ESOL we knew we had to have, because the majority of the students in our state are ESOL, and there wasn't anything focused on that. So that was a no-brainer. We also didn't have anything focused on ABE, GED. And then because, long story that I won't get into, she was hired and to be partners in professional development. We know that digital integration and digital skills is one of the most important things that our teachers need to learn so that they can turn around and help their students learn. So we just automatically knew that that was going to be a big deal, and it was a no-brainer to have that group created. Other questions? Yes, the slides will be, in fact, yes, the slides will be there. I mean, go for a couple more, and then if people need to, that's fine.
Okay. So the next thing is we've decided, right? These will be our content-based COPs. Okay. How did we get the word out?
Lots and lots and lots of repetition. So I work with 2 groups every month. I have a meeting with all directors and program coordinators. I also have a monthly meeting with the PLS, the Professional Learning Specialists. That's another required role for every program. They have to have a person in that role who does the same thing basically as the LD person, right? They don't have to be some expert, but they have to have some interest. And their role is to say, hey, I just heard about this cool PD stuff going on. Program, do you want to get into this? And we meet with them every month. Those people are actually indispensable for us because we're 2 people. Mm-hmm. And with them, we have 19 other professional learning specialists. So it's very helpful. Thank you for coming. But it's not easy. It's constant. It's constant. Yeah. Information out, telling everybody, explaining. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. This is great. I just had a question. And I'm sorry if I missed this. Do you have a schedule for the Tech Tuesday videos? And you said repetition. We have a Tech Tuesday series. I'm presenting it on Wednesday. And what we've recently, literally last week, I started doing was, instead of making new videos every week, I did a rewind. Here's an old series. And what that did was someone actually got interested, even though it was like months ago that we originally put it. And someone emailed me and was like, I want to use this with my program. Can you tell me how do I do that? So it's like kind of like reminders because
We had not thought
podcasts
about
do
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't thought about it. But
I didn't think about it until like my team and I were making videos every week for like a year and a half. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, we take the Tuesday thing very seriously every Tuesday.
Thank you for that great, peer learning.
That's right.
Hello.
That's right.
Great idea. Other questions? Go to Astrid.
Have there been any requests to integrate any live meetings of these groups, or are you thinking about that?
So there have been no requests, but again, in a couple of places we don't really integrate them, but for example, for the LDD group, you know, we led up to it with conversations and discussion. They went to this webinar. So that's where we are right now, but you're right. There's a bunch of stuff we can do. But I don't want to add a whole bunch of stuff to something that people still aren't really familiar. I want everybody in the state to understand what the COPs are, and whether they join or not, I kind of don't care. I just want to make sure that everybody knows what it is. And then I think they will want to join. But that's the first step. I think we shouldn't add other whistles and bells until we build that up. That, you know? Okay, one more question, and then it's time to hit the box.
Sorry. Okay. And this is also going to the other states who are like doing this, because it sounds like Rhode Island, so your COPs, none of them launched from like a professional development event, right? Or from like a course that students took. And so I'm just curious if anyone has an example of that, where again, like the participants went through a course or went through a training, and from that, the COP was launched. Because that's kind of where the direction I'm going in. But again, I'm just wondering if that's too authoritarian to state.
But I think it's one of the many ways you can launch COPs, right? And then within that group, they can determine among themselves what are their areas that they're really curious to explore more. I mean, it doesn't have to be determined from on high at all, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, I shared this morning, I've been working on a project in Costa Rica at the Binational Center, and Ashley was at the session I did last week at ESOL, and somehow I could find a way to share some of the, so we're taking a slightly different approach, but it's because this is a group of 120 teachers who work there, and they've decided that offering the option to start up COPs would become, because they're required to do some sort of PD as teachers, and so let's give the structure. I know we're done. But we're trying to create a structure that's actually leads to, we hope, fosters genuine teacher agency because of the tools we've created, so that they choose the topics themselves. But we provide the structure, and we just launched, and hopefully I'll know more, and I can hopefully present on it next year, let you know how it goes. But I'm happy to talk more about that. But yeah.
I was just gonna say, in New Mexico, we've done that, where you do it a training, a course, and then within that LMS, there was like a discussion board, and that was kind of supposed to be a community of practice. But it didn't work. It doesn't work unless there's a facilitator. And it does, when it's a course like that, I think it does have to have an end date, because it's not like topic based like these other ones. Yeah. And then you could maybe start another one or something.
Yeah.
Karen left, so we don't have to use the microphone. Oh.
So I've done several, I feel like we've done a lot of iterations to figure out what works, and I don't think there is one that works. Actually, what I think works is different audience like it different ways, right? Rather